Apparently I am the shadow president of the United States, or something. I'm troubled by our politics, as it has moved away from spirited debate to a vile, vituperative, hate-filled morass that is unbecoming of any free nation, Senator Mitt Romney tweeted this morning. Mitt, you just noticed this? This has been happening since 1990, and it was started by Newt Gingrich and Rush Limbaugh and those other fascists. The president calls the Democratic vice presidential candidate a monster. He repeatedly labels the Speaker of the House crazy. He calls for the Justice Department to put the prior president in jail. He attacks the governor of Michigan on the very day a plot is discovered to kidnap her. And yet, Mitt, there you are, running away from your own commitment to stop this fascist would-be dictator Trump, dining with him, auditioning for his cabinet, and now supporting him as he railroads a Supreme Court nominee past the very rules your own party made up out of thin air in 2016. But go on. Democrats launch blistering attacks of their own, though their presidential nominee refuses to stoop as low as others. Pelosi tears up the president's State of the Union speech on national television. Keith Olbermann calls the president a terrorist. Media on the left and the right. Wait, what? Pelosi tears up the president's State of the Union speech on national television. Keith Olbermann calls the president a terrorist. Trump, Governor of Michigan, Biden, Pelosi, Olbermann. One of these things is not like the other. I just want to clarify it here. I am not affiliated with any political party. I don't work for any news or commentary outlet, and I have not been elected to any office. But I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. As one Twitter respondent to Mitt Romney's unfortunate missive today, the former Obama spokesman and Pod Save America co-host Tommy Vietor said, "It's long past time to break ground on a Both Sides museum in Washington, D.C. This comparison of the President of the United States to Keith Olbermann must be preserved for future generations." Agreed. Honestly, Senator Romney, I'm the best you can do? Or from the other vantage point, I'm the worst you can do? You are one of the Franz von Pappens of this nightmare, our equivalent of the German conservative politician who helped get Hitler elected and then said, don't worry, quote, within 2 months we'll have pushed him so far into the corner that he'll squeak. You, Mitt Romney, have enabled a terrorist to occupy the Oval Office. Trump is a stochastic terrorist, terrorism by proxy. He praises the white supremacist militia terrorists in Michigan, repeats their demands. The next thing you know, they are scouting out the governor's summer home and planning to kidnap her. Trump praises his Second Amendment people. And the next thing you know, a 17-year-old gun nut has crossed state lines to start shooting at unarmed protesters in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Trump tacitly endorses the paranoid, delusional QAnon cult, and the next thing you know, one of its Kool-Aid drinkers bursts into a kid's pizza parlor brandishing an AR-15 because he really believes the bullshit on a psychotic chat room board. And Trump is also a direct terrorist, Senator. What is he doing to his own supporters, if not terrorizing them? He tells them a Democratic president would burn down the cities and destroy their suburbs and eliminate the borders and allow foreign gangs in to kill them. All that, Senator, is terrorism. He's a terrorist. And you, Mitt, you have stood by and watched and done nothing except a tweet. The country is metaphorically ablaze, and you are yelling at those of us trying to warn people and put out the fire by complaining that we have trampled the imaginary tulip garden of friendly American political discourse that still exists only in your own head. Silence in the face of evil, or Both-Sides-Ism in the face of evil, is the same thing as conducting the evil yourself, Senator. Trump is there because you and the other good Americans have let him stay there. This is the kind of America they wanted. This is the kind of America they got. This is the kind of America you got. If you have complaints about the state of political discourse in this country, Senator, take it up with the terrorist-in-chief or with your mirror. I am awaiting Mitt's condemnation of Dr. Ronnie Jackson, the former White House physician, liar, and now QAnon Trumpist congressional candidate, who today held a news conference at Trump's campaign's behest, insisting that by his, Dr. Jackson's assessment, Vice President Biden is, quote, cognitively impaired. He then went on to say, no, he hasn't actually examined Vice President Biden. He's just going on what he saw on television. And, matter of fact, no, Dr. Jackson said he isn't really practicing medicine anymore. I'm waiting for Mitt's condemnation of Judge Amy Coney Barrett, who at her confirmation hearing today was asked by Senator Feinstein, does federal law under any circumstances allow a president to delay an election? And Coney Barrett replied, I would need to hear arguments from the litigants and read the briefs and consult with my law clerks and talk to my colleagues and go through the opinion writing process. I think we want judges to approach cases thoughtfully and with an open mind. Oh, too bad, Judge. Wrong answer. The correct answer is no. But thank you for playing. You've been a wonderful contestant, so you don't leave our show empty-handed. Here's the home version of the Trump Packs the Supreme Court game to take with you. And also, have some more virus shed personally by the president. Idiots. Why don't you both sides that, Mitt? On the one hand, democracy. On the other, dictatorship. There are good people on both sides. At what point and why do people like Mitt Romney become collaborators with the right-wing extremists who have taken over this country? Unbelievably, I think this is explained in large part by a former sportscaster named Lauren Sanchez, with whom I worked 21 long years ago. And if you had told me she would be the key to understanding why once responsible Republicans have sold their souls to Trump and fascism and racism and sadism, I would have had my doubts. I don't recall ever having had a conversation with her that was not about sports. I believe she's a liberal, or at least uneasy with the Trump fascists. Doesn't much matter except to underscore that she's not a fellow traveler here. This isn't her fault. She's just a living, breathing explanation. Lauren Sanchez is now the girlfriend of Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon. It was photos of her, or with her, or sent to her that were reportedly hacked out of Bezos' phone using malware that the English paper The Guardian says was sent to Bezos in a WhatsApp message by no less than Mohammed bin Salman, the murderous crown prince of Saudi Arabia and noted Trump kiss-ass. It was photos of or for Lauren with which Jeff Bezos was to be blackmailed by the National Enquirer, blackmailed into turning his Washington Post from a bulwark of Trump criticism to another team of mewling supplicants, writing that the emperor does too have clothes, and they're the greatest and the biggest, and they cover pre-existing conditions, and COVID-19 affects virtually nobody, and try Regeneron on the rocks. Bezos, of course, told the National Enquirer and its parent company AMI and its ousted chief, David, how could we be making this stuff up, Pecker, to stuff it? That's what you can do if you are the richest man in the world. You can look at your $171 billion, and you can look at Lauren Sanchez, and you can look at whatever remained of your marriage and say, no thanks. If anybody gets my money, it's going to be my future ex-wife. So why does Lauren Sanchez explain the Death Eaters like Mitt Romney who enabled Trump, especially the ones who were once so boldly attacking him like Romney? Lindsey Graham, Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, Romney, everybody, and I mean everybody at Fox News, where 5 years ago they were all never Trumpers. Let me ask you a question, and to ask it I must invoke the story of yet another former sportscaster I used to work with. This one I will leave his name out. But one day, decades ago, he was arrested for public urination at a nightclub, on a balcony at a nightclub, on a balcony at a nightclub from which his public urination landed on the head of a policeman. When the story broke, another old and very sharp friend of mine immediately pointed out that this could not have been the first time that that sportscaster had urinated in public, and my friend knew this in his bones, because as he said, nobody's luck is so bad that the first time they urinate in public, they hit a cop on the head. And so back to my question and Lauren Sanchez and Jeff Bezos. What are the odds that the first guy the National Enquirer ever tried to blackmail on behalf of Donald Trump said no? It's impossible. Almost nobody in the public eye says no to blackmail. You have to have, in the memorable phrase, F you money. So the blackmail cannot possibly have started with Jeff Bezos in 2019. The first guy Trump's minions tried to blackmail said no. The first one. The writer and for 15 years private investigator Don Winslow says he has sources in the Justice Department who said Trump was blackmailing Lindsey Graham. Well, who else then? Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, Robert Mueller, Cory Gardner, Rand Paul, Devin Nunes, Dr. Ronnie, I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV, Jackson, the current presidential physician, Dr. Sean Conley. Blackmail. Who else? How many? For how long? About what? Now, not everybody who has ignored their chance to destroy Trump, like Mitt Romney, is being blackmailed necessarily. There are other motives. Rudy Giuliani just wants a revenge against Joe Biden for a noun, a verb, and 9/11. Attorney General Barr got a second chance at the job the American people fired him from 24 years earlier. Tucker Carlson, fired by CNN, fired by MSNBC, buried by Fox, suddenly gets a weeknight primetime show 6 days after Trump was elected. So not everybody is being blackmailed, but I guarantee you some of them are. And remember, there is no chance that Jeff Bezos was the first one they tried to blackmail. Any thoughts on being blackmailed by Trump's goons, Mitt? All right, let's do today's headlines. In addition to that last commentary, Mitt's actually also still mad at me because I said mad things about him and a couple of jokes about the 2002 Salt Lake City Olympics, which he was in charge of. I think that's what it is, because if it's not that, apparently I'm the fourth-ranking Democrat behind Pelosi and Biden and Whitmer, in which case, flee. Please flee for your own safety. Number two, the Coney Barrett hearings continue, and it is like looking through some kind of distorted mirror, window, glass, funhouse thing at a circus somewhere. They claim she is super qualified, and everybody can see what a brilliant legal mind she is and what a great judge. She's been a judge for 2 years. Senator Klobuchar asked her this afternoon whether it is illegal under federal law to intimidate voters at the polls. I have 3 dogs who could answer that question correctly. The judge refused to answer it. Then Senator Klobuchar read her the law, which says, you know what? It is illegal under federal law to intimidate voters at the polls. She's been a judge for 3 years, and I'm being generous with the 3 years. Apparently she got her law degree by sending in enough coupons. Chuck Grassley, the senator from Iowa, has sent a tweet directly to Donald Trump, and we infer that it's about the next debate, if there is one. Grassley's tweets are like nobody else's tweets. I suggest you use Pocket Card at podium, probably with, podium with 5 short sentences on what you've accomplished, 5 things that differentiate you from Biden, 5 things you will accomplish in the next 4 years. Focusing on these simple highlights, Senator Grassley tweets, will help your message and only take 5 mins. Then say whatever you want. He really thinks Trump takes advice. He really thinks Trump takes his advice. The frightening part, really, though, is Grassley is one of the bright young things of the Republican Party. Let's see who takes me to task tomorrow. We're here every afternoon on YouTube. You can watch it whenever you want. Or remember Mitt Romney, don't ever watch this show. Good night and good luck.